The baker locks his small chest where he keeps his coins, nothing much, as money is rarely very loud in this place, and puts the key beneath the counter. It is an old habit, practiced enough to make it almost a lullaby. He pats the ovens side, thanking it in a small, private way for the heat it has given, as people thank one another in gestures rather than words. Then he nods to a passing neighbor, who nods back. Community here is a series of nods, shared glances, and small favors, given without asking. The breeze picks up at the river, carrying the scent of cool mud and lotus flowers. That scent is like a whisper soft, watery floraland. It spreads across the market with kindness. You can almost feel the river's slow pulse under your feet, a heartbeat bigger and older than any of the people around you. It steadies everything. Think of the Nile as a vast, patient throat of water that swallows the heat of the day and breathes out something cleaner. The market answers with a slow closing of shutters and the rustle of rugs being rolled. Imagine now that you are sitting by the baker's stall, a piece of that warm flatbread in your hands. You feel its weight, you smell the faint char from the oven and the sweetness of the sesame, and when you lift it to your mouth, the first bite is simple, warm, slightly chewy, with the crisp corners that break like small brittle promises. Chew slowly. Notice the way the bread yields and the way your jaw moves and your tongue remembers. Each bite is an act of gratitude. Each swallow is a farewell to the day. Let your breath follow the pattern. Inhale. Be aware of the bread. Exhale. Let the day go. Around you, the market becomes softer still. A singer has taken up a quiet tune, a lullaby without words that travels low and round, like water pouring from a jar. The notes are irregular but comforting, and the melody winds itself between the stalls and makes a map of the market's closing. People listen and the edges of their faces loosen. A baby begins to yawn in the distance and is soothed by the rhythm of the song, closing tiny eyes that are like slivers of moon. The baker finishes his last tasks and rinses his hands in a clay basin. The water runs clear and small, and he lifts his hands and lets it fall back as if washing away the day's crumbs. You feel your own hands, perhaps resting on your lap, and imagine the coolness of water that takes away dust and leaves something fresh, a simple clean that asks nothing of you but a willing hand. He gathers his basket, lifts it on his shoulder with familiar grace, and begins to walk the short way home. He moves slowly, not hurried, letting the weight sit easy. Notice now the small path he takes, past the stall of the spice seller, past the woman with the honey jars, past a little doorway where a child leans out to call good night. Each person he passes nods and shares a smile. Their smiles are small, lights handed from one face to another like the passing of a gentle candle. As he walks, the baker hums the same quiet tune he hummed when mixing dough. It is a tune that knows the shape of the day. It remembers mornings and afternoons and has learned how to fold them so they can be carried in pockets. The tune seems to gather the evening like a shawl around his shoulders and around the market itself. You allow that tune to enter your thoughts. Let it be the last sound you carry before sleep finishes the sentence. The market's lighting softens to a few lanterns, a star or two reflected in a brass bowl, and finally just the glow of the moon beginning to claim the sky. The baker turns down a lane lined with tall reeds and palms, and the river's whisper grows a little louder where the city thins. There, someone has already hung a small lamp in a doorway, and it glows like a promise kept. The baker's shadow stretches long and thin across the packed earth, a companion that walks with him, tireless and patient. You might feel your own eyelids now. They grow heavy in the most agreeable way, slow as the closing of a book at the end of a favorite story. Your breath continues, its easy rise and fall. Picture the baker reaching his door, easing the latch, and stepping inside. The inside is cool and familiar. A mat is rolled out, and he sets the basket down and covers it, leaving just a single small corner of bread exposed for the morning. This small gesture saving the beginning of the next day feels like a promise that the world will spin on kindly. Imagine the baker's simple supper, a thin slice of bread, a smear of cheese, and a sip of water that tastes faintly of the river. He sits by a small window that frames the night sky, and for a brief moment he looks out and thinks of nothing in particular. The day's tasks have been completed. The world is as it should be. He lays his head on a cloth pillow and breathes, and the room seems to breathe with him. The lamp is put out. Darkness holds the house like a soft hand. There is a small miracle in such a quiet ending to a day, the knowledge that people made things for one another, that warmth was shared, that simple needs were met with care. This ordinary goodness is the softest kind of magic. Let it rest inside you as you feel your body begin to loosen, limb by limb. Your shoulders lower, your jaw unclamps, your hands relax. If your feet are busy holding thoughts, place them gently on the floor or under the covers and let those thoughts unspool like a string being released as you lie there, still near the market in your imagination. You can hear a few last sounds: an owl's distant call, the faint plop of a frog, the hush of water against the riverbank. These are the sounds that stitch the day to the night. They are small and dependable. The market is closed now, but its warmth remains like a hearth left to keep colds warm for morning. You breathe in that warmth and exhale any leftover clamor. You wish, Take a final deep breath with me now, slow and easy. Hold for a whisper, and let it out like a long thread being smoothed. Imagine the bread's last warmth passing from your fingers into the air. Imagine the baker's lullaby dissolving into the nighttime, becoming part of the slow harmony of crickets and river. The world narrows kindly to the minimum of sound required to be safe and warm. And as your breathing finds its quiet center, allow your mind to drift along the path the baker walked, past the stalls and the lantern glow, and the river that keeps its own steady counsel. You may carry with you the small, bright thing you chose to remember: a child's laugh, the hiss of the oven, the honeyed glint in a jar. Let that small image be soft in your palms. Let it be the last warm thing you hold before sleep gathers you into itself. When the time comes, surrender gently. You do not have to hurry. The market will be there again in the morning, warm and waiting. For now, rest. The bread is eaten, the oven cools, the world inhales one long, patient breath. Your breath finds its place in that pattern. Drift with it, mild and slow. The dusk that settled on the market is settling on you now, like a thin, sweet cloth. Close your eyes, the lanterns dim. The river keeps its quiet promise.